This is your boy Silas Dogood, and you're on Black Wall Street. Boo. Black owned and operated. Let's have a conversation. The first thing I want to talk about is the riots and what happened to George Floyd in Minnesota, because we're still marching and protesting about that, and it's turned ugly into looting. And a lot of my friends, who are white, want me to speak up, want me to, say, hey, this is, what do you think about what's going on with the looting? That's not helping your cause and what have you. So I'll address that, but first I want to address what happened to George Floyd. So my condolences to the Floyd family, and your guys are in my prayers. I can only imagine the pain and the hurt that you're going through, because watching that video was heart-wrenching. And so I just would like to, say that I really feel bad, and I'm sorry about that, So what happened with George Floyd? A lot of white people and misguided black people, because I try not to call names, so I'm just going to say misguided black people, think that what happened to George Floyd is it's a bad apple, a cop who's a bad apple, and he's a bad actor, that slipped through the cracks, and there's no such thing as systemic or institutional racism. And that is not true at all. That is not the case, not the fact at all. Now, when I say these things, I don't mean to accuse every white person, or for that matter, every cop, of a bad act or racism, because that term is being thrown around, and so people lose the real meaning of what racism is. People are like, oh, you just call me a racist, or you don't agree with me, so I must be a racist, or you're calling me a racist, or you're indicting a whole group of people racist, and that's the farthest thing from the truth. There are good cops out there that I support. I do support the police. There are good white people out there. The majority of this country has good white people out there, okay? That's not the issue. The issue is when you, as a white person, see somebody that you know is a racist, but refuse to say anything, because that is infringing upon your freedom. Like, it's not your problem. You can show empathy towards somebody like George Floyd. Say, oh, that's really bad for George. I really feel bad. Maybe I'll hold up a sign or whatever. But I'm not going to get involved in it, because that is their problem. It's going to affect my life, and I got my own problems. I got my own bills. I got my own kids. I got, so I can feel bad for you, but I'm not going to do much more than that. I'm not going to point out the racism. I'm not going to be active or proactive in battling that. And you don't take the time to engage in a meaningful conversation on race, because it's an uncomfortable truth. And when you don't have conversations about uncomfortable truths in your life, those are wounds that are left to fester. And things that are left to fester turn into bad things. Looting, rioting, and stuff like that. Now, everybody who saw that videotape should come away with the fact that, hey, this guy is a racist. He killed George Floyd on tape, in front of witnesses, in broad daylight. And what was even worse was there was three other police officers who felt very, very comfortable standing around while this guy was kneeling on his neck with his hands in his pockets, which, if you ever did that, you know that all your weight is on your neck. So it was on that guy, on George's neck. So he's not only begging for his life, you watch that happen. So I'm not even going to go into that. Really, I want to go into where people are at with the looting. So it was peaceful. Everyone said, my white friend said, oh, we were behind you until they started looting. Now that they're starting to loot, what's going on? Now they're criminals. They should be shot. They're agreeing with Trump. That these looters should be put down. We should get the military. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so here's my position on that. Okay, as a black man, I completely agree with peaceful protests. I would like to see peaceful protests. I don't want to see looting. I don't agree with that. Okay, I really don't. So I'm for peaceful protests and I'm against looting. Okay, but I understand it. That doesn't mean I condone it. I do understand it though, because when it was time for peace, when Colin Kaepernick stood up and said, I need to take a knee because of police brutality, nobody supported this man that was like, hey, we need to have a conversation. They shouted this man down. They blacklisted him from the NFL. They turned it into something that it wasn't from you're disrespecting the flag. No. Do I agree that he could have picked a better venue than the NFL at his workplace? That's up for debate, okay? But his message was real. His message was that there was police brutality and institutional racism within the system. But no one wanted to address that. Then when Black Lives Matter came around, Black Lives Matter was formed because of police brutality and institutional racism. Did anyone want to give them the credibility that they deserve? They were trying again to address the issue peacefully. What happened to them? They were linked to left-wing nut groups, Antifa terrorisms, just a bunch of things. They were shouted down and discredited, marginalized and maligned. That is not a way to address a festering issue in this country that's been happening since the 60s. Well, way before then. 6 years have passed between Eric Garner in New York being choked out over a loose cigarette to George Floyd saying, I can't breathe. Both of them begged for their lives, saying that they couldn't breathe. And in 6 years, nothing has changed. So now, when you systematically strip an entire race of their inalienable rights that they have, when you systematically strip them of that and give them no recourse through the courts, through their open and peaceful protests and willingness to have a conversation about race, you don't give them any other option but to loot and riot. That's their outlet. That's what they do. Do I agree with it? Do I condone it? Not so much. But I understand it. And now you want reasonable people, blacks, to stand up and say, hey, can you call for calm? This doesn't help your cause. No, it doesn't help your cause. No, it doesn't at all. But I'm not going to be the first one or I'm not going to be the black guy to stand up and say, hey, this is wrong. No, I'm going to turn a blind eye like everyone else did when they were trying to be peaceful and address the issue. I'm going to turn a blind eye and things can burn. I really don't care. Okay? Do I want to see people get hurt? Things like that? No. But hey, that's the world we live in. It's not fair. And that's what people say. So other people can feel the burn that this community has been feeling. Whether you agree with it or not, that's what life is about right now. Because we fail to have conversations when we supposed to have the conversations. But now when things are out of control, we should have a conversation. That time has passed, long past. So when it calms down, however it calms down, I think personally that this is just going to have to, just, burn itself out. It'll have to, let itself, Let itself run its course. That's what's going to have to be. And once that happens, then we can sit down and have a reasonable conversation on how we're going to, address these conversations and address these issues and stuff like that. That's just my opinion now. So one of the things is that you should do, or we should do, as a community, is first to start controlling our own dollar. I'm going to get to that the next time we have a talk, because I want to get into controlling our own dollar and controlling the media, because we are labeled and we behind the eight ball right off rip, and then we let others define who we are, like Candace Owens, who white people hold her up like she's some virgin on a statue, like she's oh no, Candace Owens is an Aunt Jemima, Uncle Tom, whatever you want to call a woman, a black woman who has problems with her own skin color. Okay, and we're gonna go into that too, because it is reprehensible, the things that she says, the things that she pushes on black people. Okay, so if you have anything to say, I'm here. I'm ready for a conversation. Okay, I'm hoping that you guys stay safe from this COVID-19 thing. I'm hoping that you guys are protesting peacefully, and get out of 2020. I feel like we need to make it out of 2020. I've felt this way since the millennia. When it was like the world's going to end right at midnight on the millennia. So, peace.